Hey guys, Doug the Michigan Piper here in the Pipe Rest, and I have to apologize right off the bat for the sound. I don't have a microphone in today because I'm recording off my newer phone, which doesn't have a plug for that, and so for the microphone that is. So I have to do as much editing as I can to get the sound right once I get to the editing part. Today I am smoking, I forgot the name of it already. That's what I smoke all the time. Great Expectations, that's what it is, Great Expectations, which is 60% 1Q and 40% BCA, if I remember right. It's 60-40, I can't remember which one's which. I'm smoking in my Peterson 314 with the P-lip. Excuse me. Just doing some contemplating this morning. It's raining today, so some of the stuff we're planning on doing outside's postponed and or canceled. So I figured I'd get on here and chat with you guys. Had a nice dinner last night. I was part of a panel for a 9/11 appreciation, well, 9/11 remembrance and first responder appreciation dinner, and there was three of us, myself, the sheriff, and our director of EMS, or sorry, operations manager of our EMS, who are both friends of mine. We were interviewed by one of our local state representatives, and went really well. You know, my only regret I think that I had was that a lot of the questions went from 9/11 more into what it's like to be a responder. And I don't want to go down the slippery slope of talking more and more about ourselves to the point where we forget about 9/11. So, which I don't think we did that. I just, you know, I'm very sensitive to the fact that it's easy to do. But one of the things I was going to talk about today on this video is what happened with the Charlie Kirk assassination, and you guys, before you shut me off or disregard this video, I mean, you can do that if you want, right? But just hear me out. You know, I knew of Charlie Kirk. I've watched his videos. But it's not really Charlie Kirk that I want to talk about. It's the reaction. And the reason why I want to talk about that is because, yeah, we can say, you know, it has nothing to do with pipes. This is a pipe channel. Don't worry about that kind of stuff. I think we still need to live in reality. I think that we can't, you know, sit in the YTPC and pretend nothing else goes on in the world. And I would like to put a word of caution out, because I do think that this is a turning point in our country. However, I don't think that the turning point is to blast other people, or is to do something radicalized, i.e. killing somebody else. But something has to be done, right? So I think that starts in here. And I think that starts with having conversations. In typical Charlie Kirk way, right? I mean, there's a lot out there being said about him on both sides of the fence, and one of the things is that he's a fascist, or is it not homogenized, but I can't remember the words they use because I don't keep up with this jargon they use nowadays, but homophobe, womanizer, all that stuff. kind of forgot where I was going with that. Other than is to say is that we need to not jump in line with the name calling. I think that we need to engage. I think that's what we need to do. We need to know what we believe. We need to know, what we think and why we think it, right? Which is the easy part when you're a Christian, because it's obvious. We have a God and He gave us His Word. That's what we stand on. However, I don't think that going overboard with the name calling or anything extreme is the answer. And you can say, oh yeah, whatever, Doug, but I'm living it. What I mean by that is I've engaged people on Facebook that I'd rather not engage. People who say atrocious things about Charlie and other people. I had somebody tell me a few weeks ago that when Dr. James Dobson died a while back, that he was the most evil person to walk the face of the earth. A man who taught men how to be real men and loved God. So I think we need to engage. I think if we don't engage and we shut those people out, we leave a vacuum and they'll fill that vacuum. So then the people coming into it that don't know what they believe, that don't understand how things work, will only be listening to one side. So I think that our job is to educate amongst the insults, amongst the rhetoric. We talked about this a little bit in the panel last night. And my comment was, I don't block people on social media because Christ didn't block me. What I mean by that is that, I've given God all kinds of reasons to give up on me. All kinds of reasons. But He didn't. And I finally figured it out. I finally figured out what true faith is, what having a relationship with Jesus is, as I spit ash on myself. So I offer that opportunity to the people that I talk to, even though they're abusive and they're, stuck in their ways. If I talk to thousands of people and one person gets it, as draining as that is, I think it's worth it. So what do we do as the tides hopefully change? Is we engage. We engage not abusively, but we say, hey, this is the facts. This is where I get my facts. You know what? You believe that this person's a fascist, or you believe that I'm a homophobe. Okay? Here's why I say I'm not. And you have those conversations. I think that's the only answer, right? I don't want to get to heaven or Judgment Day, or however you want to put it, and say, well, Lord, I was going to talk to that person about you, but it was going to be awkward. Or, Lord, I was going to talk to that person about you, but they weren't going to listen. And then He shows me the video or whatever you want to say, whatever they're doing in heaven. Well, here's where they accepted it from somebody else because they were brave enough to speak up. And you guys, if you're not a Christian, if you're not a believer, I still think engaging with the truth is the answer. If you are a conservative but you're not a believer, then give them conservative facts. Give them the facts that that stand out. But when you do that, whether you believe or not, make sure you have your facts straight. Because what happens a lot of times is somebody will get half a fact, or they hear one thing and they throw it out there and they punch somebody in the face with it. And when that person rebukes them or that person says something contrary, they don't have anything to back that up, so they just start spewing stuff. And it just doesn't fix things. There's a word for that. There's a word for taking the time to make the effort without thinking of the result, or without being guaranteed a result, and that's called grace. You have to give people grace, whether they deserve it or not. A lot of people think that when you're a Christian, you're soft. And I will tell you that being a Christian, although the burden is light, it's not all hunky-dory. It's not, standing there in the face of several people ridiculing you because of you giving them the facts that they can't see because they're too blind to see it. That's not easy, but it's possible, and it fixes things. Doesn't fix everything. There'll always be evil in the world, but giving the grace to have that conversation, to give people the option, I think is worth it. Guys, I'm going to think some more about that, and I'm going to finish this wonderful pipe. I hope you all are doing well. Until next time, you take care.